All right. Thank you so much for being here. We are first going to start off with a little bit of congratulations. Um, so, congratulations is in order for the class of 2023. So, there are so many kids that I know that are graduating this year, and I just wanted to first jump out there, not as author Jayla Starr, but as Carlotta, jump out there and just say, congratulations to the class of 2023. You guys are so beautiful. Everything about your journey that I know personally, it's just amazing to see where you kids are these days, and that a lot of you guys are grown. Even though I met you when you were 2 and 3, one I met when he was born. um, and so I just wanted to throw that out there and just say congratulations to the class of 2023. Now jumping right in, come journal with Jay. Good morning. It is April 3rd. We are starting off with the bang. Um, I go by author Jayla Starr, and you are tuned in to Come Journal with Jay. Thank you so much for choosing me to start your week with. We are here to provoke thought for the purpose of mental health, calmness, clarity, and emotional structure through training our minds to create spaces to deal with the facts of our emotions instead of compartmentalizing, which usually leads um, to living in the present with an emphasis, a huge emphasis on what you've been through the past. So we kick off the week with positive affirmations. So again, thank you so much for choosing Come Journal with Jay. Thank you so much for choosing me to start your week with. So first, getting into the affirmations. So I have an affirmation because for this week because of Arkansas. So today we'll be talking about storms. So this week I choose to have compassion for my mistakes and create my personal best. So no matter what, it is your duty to personalize your commitments. So, if you're a Christian, you're committed to spreading the word of God. Um, if you are a teacher, you are committed to teaching. If you are a financial strategist, you have committed yourself to accounting, to explaining people's monies. so so what you have committed to is structuring finances, is providing a service. So this week, the affirmation that we want to try to keep in our minds, the affirmation is, I choose to have compassion for my mistakes and create my personal best. So the reason why I wanted to talk about storms is because, for all that don't know, I'm from Arkansas. I was born in California, in Los Angeles, California, but the better part of my childhood was spent in Arkansas. I stayed in Arkansas from the 6th grade all the way until I graduated high school. So Arkansas is kind of where I consider my home. Um, Arkansas was hit pretty bad with the tornadoes. Really, it was the South, but Arkansas definitely, Wynn, um, Little Rock, all that whole area was hit pretty bad. They're reporting right now that there was, I think, either 22 or 32 deaths from these tornadoes. I just surfing social media as we do. I took note of churches and homes and shelters that were literally destroyed. So I thought about that. For me, I internalized so many emotions, some of which are not mine. so, so, some of which are, other people's issues that for whatever reason I take on. And so, my heart just felt up with sadness. I got maybe 20 something marked safe on social media. I just kept on watching that stuff, and encouraging my husband reach out to his frat brothers, like just all of that, because when you're going through a storm, you don't think clearly. When you're going through a storm, there are so many emotions that comes along with just the fogginess. So again, we are here to get clarity over situations, over our lives, and train our minds how to think positive, even in tough situations. And that's the first reaction. So the response is something that we always deal with here on Come Journal with Jay. We always deal with the response. So a lot of times we react to something that we don't, and a lot of times our reactions are emotion driven. They're poor because we don't think things through when we react to something. But it is also our duty to go back and respond. So responding is solution based, it's next level. So it's not like, oh, you're just thinking about this moment and what's happening. No, we got to think about beyond this moment. So how do I respond to this moment to get us to the next moment? So a lot of times people, hold on. Oh. A lot of times people would think about the past and what they've gone through, and then systematically people always try to make sense of the turn of events, and that causes a little bit more of a rift in our own minds, because it's just like some things are not meant to connect the dots, and when you spend too much time over here trying to understand why, sometimes it halts you from moving to the next thing. And so here we are spending too much time. Now, don't get me wrong. Some situations deserve that red carpet treatment. Sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, okay, what's happening? Let me figure out the why. But that's not every situation. And so for me, I always had to have closure. What is closure? So when our minds start rambling and just going on and on and on, it's hard for us in the midst of that storm to see the other side. And so then we start projecting, our whatever onto other people around us, people that may have something to do with it. Some people may not. That's when, if you're in customer service working at Burger King, you're at customer service, someone comes up and they have a problem with their sandwich and you just go completely off. That's because it's some stuff that you ain't dealt with and you are just angry today. Going back to our affirmation this week. I know on Spotify you can't see my big smile, but on YouTube you can. Going back to our affirmation. Let's go. This week I choose to have compassion for my mistakes and create my personal best. Is it your best to turn up? No, but that's the way that you react to that situation. So while you're reacting, that person is still standing there with that problem, and your job is still not being done. How long are we going to stand here? How long are we going to go back and forth about the sandwich instead of just fixing the problem? We're going to do it as long as it takes you to realize, or maybe somebody comes in and saves that person from your wrath. Been there. So so the topic of the discussion today is storms. Even though Arkansas is dealing with death and turmoil in real life, um, it's gonna take some strength. It's gonna take some people outside of the storm to come in and really help regulate things. But internally and with every individual, I encourage you to respond. Don't take too long on your reaction, but I encourage you to respond. So so one of the things that I've dealt with, and I know we're referencing the past, not living there right now, because this is a lesson that I've learned the hard way, which is the reason why I have told myself and conditioned myself that the past is going to always be there. Nothing you can do about it. So those mistakes that you made, those, situations that you had to live through, those are testimonies. It's not meant for you to be out here living it day in and day out. So for the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna blast back to the past for just a moment. But I had to learn to listen, because a lot of times, even when you react, like before your response, when you react, a lot of times you're not taking into account all the facts. I'm for real. That was the hardest thing for me to do. I couldn't listen to my son. I really wasn't listening to my husband. Was I even listening to God at one point? No. I was too worried about what I didn't have. I was too worried about what I didn't learn as a kid. I was too worried about why I can't turn my back and run over here to this safe space in my family, or in all of these things and these people. Why couldn't I do that? So I stayed too long in my reaction. Not really thinking about where I am presently, what is happening presently. I always had to point the finger. So when I began to listen, when I began to stop talking and listen, that's when I gained the most clarity of all the situations. And although the connection with my present can be made to my past, living there and giving it too much power of my decision making is where I went wrong. So, in the midst of your storm, you got to listen. In the midst of your storm, you got to hold your tongue. That's not only just your physical tongue when you just can't stop talking, but it's also the tongue in your mind. Your mind tells you things that sometimes is not true. It plays tricks on you. That's why we have to um that's why we have to get to a point where um we are teaching ourselves and conditioning ourselves and pushing ourselves to emotional structure. That's why we need to train ourselves how to react, because that reaction can be louder than that response. And the response, even though it may be the right response, is still going to be received negatively. Because look, we're not just living in this world by ourselves. We don't go through things by ourselves. We literally have each other. So what I do can affect other people. And so going back to the affirmation, this week I choose to have compassion for my mistakes and create my personal best. Your personal best is who you are. Your personal best is what you strive to do and strive to be every single day of your life. So while these storms are happening, whether they be physical storms or whether they be internal storms, while these storms are happening, we have to listen. We have to listen and we have to respond. Don't stay too long in that emotional state, which we all know we all have the capabilities of being emotional. That's for one, that's women. I had to tell my homeboy the other night, he came through at Walmart. Everybody know I work at Walmart. So he came through at Walmart and he's like, hey, neighbor, I ain't seen you in a while. I'm like, yeah, I've been around. I've been around. How you doing? He like, yeah, I was in a relationship for a half a second. He was like, maybe like 2 days. I was like, you was in a relationship for 2 days? He was like, yeah. I had to just listening to the whole story and how everything unraveled, and I had to tell him. I had to tell him. At the end of the day, if you want something, you got to be intentional. That is the same thing that we can say for ourselves. You got to be intentional. You got to be intentional with your growth. You have to be intentional with your personal best. You have to be intentional. It's not just going to happen. You don't wake up. I mean, even though Beyonce told you you woke up like this, even though you wake up, you're not equipped with those things that'll take you through your day unless you have worked on those things. So again, come journal with Jay. We are here to provoke thoughts for the purpose of mental health, calmness, clarity, and emotional structure. That's what we're going to do. We're going to continue on with this conversation that helps us move from point A to point B. We're going to continue on with this conversation that's going to continue to help us grow today and tomorrow. So yeah, the next thing on the docket, our next little segment is just it's just a note. It's me journaling out loud to you. Um, People change. As much as we don't want to believe it, people do change. But they're not going to change when you want them to. They're going to change when they're ready. So the decision of what you let inside of your circle is yours. The decision of who you let in your circle is yours. You need to take a personal account of what you can take, what you can withstand before you blame someone else for a reaction or whatever. I had to learn that I wanted people around me to change. Their change was not big enough for me. And I resented them for that until I was in therapy with Dr. Malhotra. And then I was faced with questions and assessments that made me stand back and say, I changed. But these changes were so subtle, they were so small in the grand scheme of things, of my personal best, right? What I thought my personal best was at that moment. But I had to realize that I was being hard on myself when it came down to my growth. It's not going to happen. Oh no. Oh no. I just had my alarm set. Sorry about that, guys. I had my alarm set for 6:40. Why did I do that? Mondays is supposed to be the alarm was not supposed to go off, but I reset all of my alarms and I forgot to take it off on Monday. So sorry about that. But the changes in my own self, I was so focused on the end goal that I forgot to celebrate the changes, the small changes that I was making in preparation for when God was ready for me to go to my next level. So at this point, I just need to encourage everybody. Any step, baby steps, a half a baby step, all of that stuff matters. And for the collective person, the areas in your lives that you're trying to, revamp or trying to make sense of, journal. Journal your journey, because you're going to be able to take a step back and say, okay, I did do that. Sometimes you're going to be able to go back to those pages. You may stumble upon this, you've written this journal, felt these pages up 2 years ago, and you're cleaning stuff out in your room or whatever, and you run across this and you start flipping through stuff, and you're going to look and be reminded of some of the things that you've overcome. So those moments of clarity comes in a divine time. You got to respect the process. Maybe you went out looking for these answers. Maybe you didn't. But at the end of the day, God is going to give you what you need in the moments that you need it. And that's faith. That's faith that's going to happen. So everything that you do around you is going to prepare you for the moments that you're going to need that faith. So I believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that when it's time for you to have something, there's nothing, not even you, that's going to be able to stop those moments from happening. That's going to be able to stop that progress from happening. When it's time, when it's your time, it's going to be there 100%. And you're not going to have to scratch for it. You're not going to have to fight for it. You're not going to have to convince anybody that you're made for it. It's going to be yours, period, point blank. So with all of that being said, I am going to just release you guys into this week. Let's go over that affirmation one more time. This week, I choose to have compassion for my mistakes and create my personal best. I do want you guys to remember Arkansas in your thoughts and your prayers, because Arkansas has not had all of this that they're going through as much as some of our other cities and states. So preparation and structures and all of that kind of stuff, the FEMA and just catastrophe insurance and stuff like that is not really as built up and built out as a place that is known for hurricane or tornado alleys and stuff like that. So just keep them in your thoughts and your prayers during this time. Again, shout out to the class of 2023. Much love from Arthur J. LaStar. For all of my babies that know me personally, 100%, I adore you guys. I watch every single move that you make, that you allow for me to see. And I just want to thank you for that. Thank the parents for always being their cheerleader and posting them on social media so I can see. Again, I just love you guys and congratulations on a job well done. Entering into that next phase in your life where you have to decide who you are, what you want out of life, and what direction you want to go for the next 5 years. So again, I love y'all. Much love and light as we grow and experience through this week. You are listening to Come Journal with Jay to start your week. And thank you again for choosing me. Bye-bye, guys.